So this is new for me because I haven't made a Facebook video before to give advice, or I guess you just talk. So I have gotten a lot of questions about sleep training, how to do sleep train your babies, and why. And so I have two little ones. My son is 2 months over 2, so he just turned 2. He's not that much bigger. And then my daughter is 8 months, almost 9 months now, actually. And so this is a rare moment because my son is having snack time and my daughter is sleeping in her crib, taking a nap. So I thought I have a couple minutes maybe, who knows, you know how it goes. So I'm just gonna try to make a video and then I can answer maybe try to answer some questions. And I don't really know, I'm just a mom, okay? So, and don't mind, I have my big cup of coffee today because I'll at least fill this one more time. Because it's just chaos. It's crazy here and snowed in, so we're just not going anywhere today. So I'll kind of talk about why, I'll talk about our sleep habits before. I really dug in and said we've got to sleep train, and then how. So with my firstborn, we co-slept for the first year, and I didn't plan to be a co-sleeping mom. It just happened maybe reactively at first because it just felt natural. I nursed him. It was just easier to bring it to both us be in the bed, sleeping, and he would just latch on and nurse, and I could practically sleep through that, and it was just so much better. I slept better. He didn't cry. It was just wonderful, and it was a good attachment, a bond. I felt it was what was best for us. You know, I just want to start by saying whatever you decide to do, if it's best for your family and if it's best for your marriage or relationships, then do that. But as he got bigger, if you've co-slept or co-slept reactively, they move, they roll, they turn all sorts of ways, and you just really can't sleep that well. And at that point, a year, I was 3 months pregnant. I had just found out I was pregnant. Maybe a month before, and I was tired and I wasn't getting the sleep I needed to get at night to be up and energetic to chase a 1-year-old around during the day. So at about 13 months, I just said we've got to sleep train him, which I sleep trained him. My husband's schedule makes things, it was easy to co-sleep because he works that grave shift for most. He has 1 to 2 days off a week, so he's got a heavy workload. So I knew it was going to be me doing all the work, and with another one coming, it was just not going to work. It would be bad. And so with my son, I thought, you know, I'll nurse him to sleep because that's how he falls asleep, and I'll put him in his crib, and we'll keep doing that. And very quickly, I realized that meant I got up multiple times throughout the night and I got even worse sleep, and that was not going to work. And I brought him back into my bed around 3 or 4 in the morning because I was just too tired at that point to keep being consistent and keeping him in his crib. And at that point it was about survival. I needed to sleep. I was going to have a baby soon. And so I thought, well, you know, keep hearing this cry it out work, let's just do it, and maybe it's going to be really hard, but it'll be worth it. And so I waited for a night my husband was home because I did not want to give in. I was really nervous, I was really scared. You're just, you know, you have an attachment to your children, and it's sad to hear them cry out for you. So we tried that, and after about 10 minutes and him throwing up, I was sitting outside the hallway torturing myself the whole time, you know, bawling. That was not working, maybe not for us and not for our son. It just was not going to work. So I waited like another week, and I'm like, there's got to be a way to do this. It's gonna get done. And so I just decided that I would put him in his crib, but I would stay with him. And the first time I did that, it was just me. My husband was working, and I didn't even tell him because I didn't want to fail, or I didn't want to say I'm gonna try again and it just be a mess and just kind of feel crappy about it as a parent. But I'm noticing we all seem to go through this, and so it's not a bad thing. But so I put him in his crib. I stood next to him. He cried. He did cry, and I just want to say that cry it out is different than your child crying when you're sleep training them, and that is totally, for the most part, unavoidable. Okay, you're switching up how they sleep. You're taking things away they're used to. They're comfortable. It would be the same for you if someone came in and said, "I'm going to help you sleep better. You need to not have your phone with you when you sleep at all, and it needs to stay out in the kitchen." Or if you sleep with a TV, I don't know what your sleep habits are, but if they changed it up, you would not be happy about it. And our children are the same way. So there is going to be some fighting and not being happy about that. Just to keep that in mind. So I stayed with him until he fell asleep, and I stood just by his crib. I really did stand there. And then I had the rocking chair I'd bring over to kind of sit down, and he was over a year, so he probably stood up the first night over 40 times, and that's very realistic, to make sure I wasn't leaving and I was still there. And he would start crying, but it wasn't screaming, crying. It was just like he wasn't happy, and that might sound bad, but he needed to learn to sleep. And I was there for him. I just didn't pick him up, and that worked. I did it for a couple nights. I stayed in there, and then I laid on the ground, and when I started doing that, maybe a couple nights into it, he stood up and checked on me to make sure I was there. Nonstop. Waited for him to fall asleep, and I just crawled out of the room, like, so quiet. Is he asleep? Oh my gosh. Get in, like, just get out. And he didn't wake up maybe but 1 to 2 times through the night to nurse. And that was a comfort thing. For him, I think it was a comfort thing. And then I stopped nursing for us because I was so big and pregnant. It was just the right thing to do. At that point, 14 months. And then we got to the point where maybe after a week I could just go in there and do his routine. That's very important, having a routine, putting him down and leaving. And he never cried. And it was wonderful, so wonderful. And I thought, why didn't I do this sooner? Just to be able to have an hour and a half to 2 hours to clean up the house, or to just relax or read a book or go to bed early, whatever it was. My little one is waking up. To do what you need to do. And so I did that. Then I had my daughter, and we immediately started co-sleeping, and that was the best thing for us. I'm okay. I felt like co-sleeping was an important piece until about 6 months. And that's when that really, for her, schedule started moving. And I hear her, so I'm gonna have to get her. And if you're watching this, you're a parent, and you just understand. So she just wanted to be a part of the party. And so, at 6 months, this is where things went insane and crazy. Oh, sweet girl. So I was co-sleeping with her, and then our son got sick. And now I have to remind you, for the majority of the time, I'm so blessed to be a stay-at-home mom. We really sacrificed to make that happen. But it's me, because my husband is gone 12 hours, and when he gets home in the morning, he needs to sleep. We're up, our day started, and he needs to sleep, is here for a couple hours, and then has to go back to work. So it really, I knew that I needed to have control of the situation as much as I could, as far as being mom and having order and structure. And here comes my son. Told you, I didn't know how long I'd have to do this. So what happened was, she was closely with me, and that was great, and he was in his room, napping in his room, sleeping in his room wonderfully. Hi, can you say hi? Do you see yourself? And so, he got sick, And what happens? You regress. And I mean, he just didn't feel good, and I needed sleep, and he wasn't breathing well, and so he was in my room, and I was in there, and she was in there, and they're too little to be next to each other. So I'm in the middle of a 2-year-old and a 6-month-old, and no, you can't sleep. I couldn't sleep, and she's nursing more often. I think she's hungry. And it was insane. I was going crazy. I felt like there's no way this can go on. I'm not being a good mom. Like this during the day, you don't have the energy and the patience that you need when you get a good night's sleep, and that is crucial. Hi, can I have one? Can I have one? And so I knew what had worked before, and I had mentioned that to a friend. That, you know, I thought, oh, can we do this again? I don't know. Let's just try it again. But how? How am I going to do this with 2 kids and me just here at night? And how is it going to work? Thank you. Thank you for your goldfish. And so, okay. So, I decided it's got to happen. I'm not going to sleep, and it's just going to be bad for everybody in the house, okay? When mom is doing well, the house is doing well, the kids are doing well, the husband is doing well, and it's just better. Even if it's a mess, who cares? We're all good. And so, sorry, one. Here you go. No. So, I'm sorry, this is just the norm. And so, I knew we'd have to start over completely, and this time I was gonna have to stick to it, and that is the key: consistency, not quitting. And I had told a friend, well, this has worked before, and she said, oh, that sounds like the Sleep Lady. I have no idea who that was, and I just didn't feel like buying a book, and I just was gonna do what I knew worked before. But I think her name is Kim West. I don't know the title of her book. I don't know if it's called The Sleep Lady, but I just YouTubed her. And I just watched some of her videos, and she has a video thing, and she just has great tips, so I would check her out if this is the sort of route you want to go with sleep training. And there's another lady, I don't know her name. I didn't buy books because I just, I had done it already, and it's what worked for me. And although I might, because there's also the nap time piece, and with re-sleep training them, don't do naps. Like, just let them get naps however, and she will say this, like, get sleep during the day for your children up to 4 years old is so important and so crucial, and they will sleep better at night, and it's so hard to get them to sleep when they're overtired. And I know that a lot of us do anything we can to get our kids to sleep, and there's sleep crutches, and the more sleep crutches you have, your child has, I'm just going to warn you, the harder it is going to be to sleep train them. For example, my son, when I stopped nursing, I don't know why I gave him a bottle. And I just thought, like, he needs to have a bottle. I don't know why. We're skipping the bottle with her. It was hard to get rid of. But so that was his comfort. That was his sleep crutch, was the bottle. Nap time, anytime he yawned, he was like, Baba. And it was like, no, you're done. You're done with the bottle. And that was comforting for him. And they should have a comfort thing, but maybe a lovey or a blanket or a pillow, something safe and appropriate for their age. And I'm totally fine with her having a pacifier. She really just doesn't take it. My son didn't either. They just didn't. I don't know why. Kind of got lucky with that. But sometimes if she's really, really tired, she'll take it. Tired, she'll take it, but not. It's not something she's interested in. So, other sleep crutches my son had. He was co-sleeping with me. I was his sleep crutch. You know, mommy was there. Mommy is his sleep crutch. That's what he needs to sleep. And, you know, I know that it's hard for some parents to believe. Even gentle parenting, which is something I like. Josiah, please shut the fridge. Thank you. They do need to learn this as a skill. It's a skill to put themselves to sleep. And I used to hear that and think, well, I'm their mom. I'm going to comfort them, and I'm going to be there for them and put themselves to sleep. Like, I thought that. But Really, it's true. And it's such a good skill you can give your child, because they just sleep better, and they're independent, and they just do better. They really do better when they can put themselves to sleep. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't be there. You shouldn't go to them when they cry. It just means that they can do it on their own, just like we do. And we figure out what works best for us. We lay in certain positions that are comfortable. We have a favorite pillow. We do the same thing. We have to do that for our children. We're training them. And so I gotta get some juice. Please, may I please have some juice, Mommy? Okay. Yes, you may have some. And so, he brought it to me, so that's okay. And so, that was the skill that I needed to give her. So I started with her. Because she's younger. I didn't start with him as young, and I'm going to let you know, don't do it before 6 months. Personally, that's what I think. But she was 8 months. She was ready, but she wasn't big enough to kind of throw the fits and craziness that he did. So I thought, oh, she'll take to it better. And she did. And she didn't have all the sleep crutches that he had. She nursed, and that was about it. I mean, not all those sleep crutches. So it's wonderful. So I would just say the tips I could give is, when you start sleep training, routine. I know everyone has heard it. It's true, and it's crucial. Routine. And if you're nursing or if you're doing a bottle, do not let them fall asleep with it. Don't let them fall asleep at all until you put them in their crib. Pack and play, or wherever you're going to put that. And so with her, it's, bath. It's BBB, okay? Bath, body massage, the lotion, the breast. She nurses, and then we do a book. So 4 B's. Sometimes she's too tired to do all of that, or it's a little late and we're running like crazy behind, and it's just we just can't do it all. But we still maintain 2 of those things at least, and give her that schedule she knows. So she's well over almost 2 weeks doing this. And the first night, she was not happy about it. I put her down, and she was like, oh no, you're not putting me down. And she pretty much threw a fit. She was crying. I stayed with her, and I noticed with her that was different than my son. As if she saw me, it worked her up more than if I was just sitting there in the rocking chair. And she would kind of look over and see me there, but she wouldn't freak out as if I stood up. And I do think on the sleep ladies, comforting is good. Comforting, you don't want them, if they're crying so much that it's like overwhelming them, pick them up and comfort them. But do not pick them up all the time. Don't constantly pat their back and tell them it's okay and that you love them. Mommy's here, it's night time. But don't do it to the point where she's hungry. Where they just can't, it's another crutch. Don't do that. And it's hard. Consistency is key. They take well to direction, though, and they catch on so quick at this age. It's really us that has to stick to it. And that is hard, because it's going to be a couple nights where you're exhausted, and you do the same thing when they wake up. You do the same thing. You don't pick them up. You just comfort them, let them know you're here, because it's the consistency that's really going to make it happen really fast. She was like 3 days, totally awesome, totally great. She's doing amazing. So this last weekend, we restarted my son. And that I asked Dad. I said, I need you to take a 3-day weekend and be here. And he agreed, because he saw the difference it was making in me and in the household to have her back in her room and doing well. And we needed our son. And we needed our bed. We needed our bed back. I know. My sweet love. And so I'm going to try to wrap this up. And I just want to say, if you have any questions, this is a little long. I'm so sorry. This is just the reality. But if you have any questions, I don't know if I can help. I'm just letting you know what worked for us. But just maybe ask, and I'll try. I'm not sure. I have run across a few things. So my son, he's 2. He's in a toddler bed. We moved him early just because of finances. We didn't want to buy another crib, and we needed it for her. So maybe that wasn't the best decision, but he did well with it. He never freaked out. He never ran. He liked it. But we made him a part of the process, building it, putting it together. He loves it. He was more difficult. He got up, he ran, he actually didn't run. He cried, he sat up. Dad did him the first night. It was awesome. Dad totally took care of him, and with him, we're doing a little bit gentler. Falling asleep, staying till he's asleep, letting him, really rubbing his back, and then after 2-3 days, you move back a little, and you don't do all that stuff, but you're still there, and they see you, and you just transition your way out of the room, and whatever is comfortable for you. If it's a week, if it's 2 weeks, we didn't want to drag it up like that, but he's doing so well, because he was on a sleep schedule before. He knows this is how it goes. And please, I would just say, don't let them nap however. Like, sometimes I have to drive them around, because they're just too hyper bad. We'll get rid of that crutch. But, make sure the night you start, you do the schedule. If they're older, you talk to them about it. Mine don't understand that, and kind of too, but, and get their naps in. Please go to, I have to link the website, but there is a website that says the average hours that your child needs for their age. And you want to watch their nap windows, their wake windows, because they shouldn't be up over so many hours per age. For her, I think she's ready to go back to sleep. But for my son, it's a little bit longer because he's a little older. But you still don't want them going past that time. Kids that might be more hyperactive or just don't seem to need to nap, they actually need it more because their brains are so active and so working hard. So please don't think that they don't need their naps. They need their naps. I just can't stress that enough. They need their naps, and it's really us as parents who have to make sure that they're getting them. You can't make them sleep, but you can provide the setting, you can set it up, and you can do it every single day. And if they're in daycare, hopefully they're doing that also. But we're home, and that is our job, and it's easy to not do it. But stick to it for 2 weeks. Throw plans out the window, go to grocery stores earlier in the morning, whatever you have to do. Get it consistent, and once they're on it and they'll pick it up, they just it's natural to them. It becomes routine. They do better. They know what to expect. Tantrums. If you're dealing with tantrums, that will get rid of a huge amount. I can't even stress that enough. Like, you have the natural training and rearing of children. There are going to be tantrums, but this will eliminate a huge amount of them. I promise. So I'm going to wrap this up because my children need me, and this is really awkward, but it was easier than I thought it would be. You're just kind of talking to someone who's not there. And I'm a stay-at-home mom, and if you are a parent and kind of know what that's like, you just talk to yourself all day anyway. So I hope this helped. I'm sorry if it didn't. Do what works best for your family, though. And please don't reactively co-sleep. That can be so hard. If you choose to do it and it's best for you, then great. Leave any questions or comments, and don't be mean. I don't know what this YouTube, I've seen mean stuff. So, okay, bye.